Hey everybody, we're back for another tip in our Gmail series. So today's video might be a little bit longer than normal, but it's about a really important topic that I think is going to make your life a whole lot easier. We're going to be talking about several setting options that you have for how you can customize your inbox, like the way you receive emails, the order they're in, different tabs you can use. And we're also going to talk about general organizational tips for your inbox as well. So I'll be sharing some different things that I kind of do with my inbox to kind of keep me organized in the hopes that you might find those helpful as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So here is my inbox again. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is how you can customize kind of the overall look, like the configuration of your inbox, where your emails go when you receive them. So my inbox does not have any categories that were set by Gmail. I only have the primary category open. So to take a look at what I mean, we're going to be in our settings gear for this one. So click on your settings gear and then go to settings. And then from here is where we can kind of decide how we want to have our inbox organized into categories. So we're going to be on the inbox tab, and here's where you can determine those categories. So right now, as I said, I only have the primary inbox tab checked. So I only want my emails going into one screen. I don't want to have to hunt and search in all these other categories to find what I want. If I turned on these other categories, Gmail is going to try to kind of be intuitive for me and figure out which one of these categories an email most likely would fall into. So primary is going to catch a lot of things, but then like if you for some reason have a Gmail or a Pinterest page or anything other like Twitter, any sort of social collaborative group email sent to your inbox and you click on the social tab, then it's going to try to start sending those types of emails into the social tab for you instead. Same thing with promotions and updates and forums. If you receive any emails from different things like that, and it's giving you an example right below where we are, like for forums, it says messages from online groups, discussion boards, mailing lists, that kind of thing. So it kind of gives you an idea of what would fall into each of these category tabs. So if you feel like that would be useful, like you don't want your social things getting just sent to your primary inbox, you want to kind of pull them out and keep them separate, then you can turn on as many or as few of these category tabs as you would like to. And you'll see kind of a little preview in your slides for this part of the series. You'll see what that would look like in your inbox. So it's just going to turn where in my inbox I have everything is just coming here in one thing. It's going to separate it out, like your primary category would be here, then you might have a socials tab or a forums tab. However many you turn on, it will be in different tabs going across the top of your inbox. Some people like that, some people don't. It's an option you have, so I just wanted to share that with you. Another thing that's really helpful that a lot of people like to use to kind of keep them on track and organized in their inbox is that you can actually set your email to order the emails that you receive. So here's what I mean. We're going to be under the settings gear again. We're going to be in settings, and we're going to be actually right where we just were under our inbox tab again. So here's where we were just talking about those categories. Right above that is the option you can set for how you want your emails to be organized. So right now mine's on default. Default is by time. So whatever time, date that you get those emails, that's the order that they're in. You have all these other options for how you can set your emails to be organized in your inbox. So you can check to have your important emails first. Remember, important, let's go back and take a look, is this little yellow chevron. Again, Gmail is going to kind of mark a lot of those as important. So that one might not be especially helpful to you. So that one, you may or may not want to turn that one on. You can also have it put your unread messages first, which could be helpful because we're going to talk here in just a little bit about how I kind of organize my inbox, and I use unread as kind of an organizational tool. So some people like to have their unread messages pop up above all the read messages in their inbox just to kind of keep it separated for them. You can also do the same thing with starred emails. So if you use stars to help you organize in your inbox, and we'll talk more about that in just a second, then you can also choose to have your starred messages appear at the top above all your emails below that. You also have the option to do what's called a priority inbox. So if you select that, then you have the option to choose what goes first. So maybe you want your important and unread items to go first. Or you can say, well, first I want my unread, then I want my starred, then I want, let's just take that one out, and I want everything else to be at the end. So you can set the order for all of these other items in your inbox. So that one's really helpful. It's totally customizable to you. You set the order for what you want in your inbox. So that's really neat too. Now we're going to talk about how I kind of keep my email organized. So I've talked a little bit about it before. I've mentioned how I mark some things as unread and then I star some other things. So in my inbox, just because an email is unread doesn't necessarily mean that I have not read that email. Sometimes, actually most of the time, I will use unread just as an organizational tool. Now here you can see I've just got some emails in the past few minutes that I haven't had the chance to read yet. Those are literally unread. But if I scroll down a little bit, I have 2 emails down here from a few days ago, months ago, that are still marked as unread. I've read both of these emails, but I came here and I marked them as unread using this little button here to toggle back and forth. I marked them as unread because it's something that I need to really make sure that I remember in the future or something that I want to follow up on. So this is about a presentation that I'm going to be giving in March. I just wanted to kind of keep that in the forefront of my mind so that when March comes, I know, oh yeah, I had that email marked. Let me just go back and take a look at what it said again. Here, this email has a ton of new tech tools that just came out kind of toward the beginning of the year, some updates to some different products. And honestly, I just haven't had the time to really sit and dig through that. I read through it, so I know kind of the gist of it. But one day in the future, when I have a little bit of extra time, I want to go back through and actually dig into those tech tools so that I can learn a little bit more about them. So all I did was I just marked that as unread so that I could find it real easily and think, oh yeah, I was going to follow up on that. I need to do some more research on it. Let me get back to it. I also do the same thing if I get an email from like an individual person and it's something that I need to reply to, but I don't have time. I'm walking into a meeting. I'm getting ready to be at home with my husband eating dinner. It's something that I just can't answer right at that moment. I'll also mark it as unread so that I know, okay, I read that. I know what they want. I don't have time to look at my calendar and give them some options right now. I promise I'll reply in a couple of hours. So I can mark it as unread so that it brings my attention to that email a little more quickly. I also use stars to organize my inbox too. So stars are a little bit different. I typically don't star anything that's going to be in my inbox. Like here you can see this one is starred. It's because I starred it before. The person has now replied. It's in my inbox again. I will typically star an item if I have sent my reply. Maybe I've offered a couple of dates to get together or I tried to answer the person's question, but I'll star it if I need to follow up on them. Like I need a confirmation of the date or I just want to check back with them in a couple of weeks and then say, hey, how did that work out for you? That kind of thing. So I star things that I have gone ahead and replied to. I don't really have to do any more action at this point, but it's something that I want to follow up on in the future. So anytime you star an item, it's going to go over here in the left-hand category under your starred label. And that's one that Gmail automatically created for you. So if you're not seeing starred in your list, remember it might be under your more option. And you can always drag up a category out of your more if you want to see it appear in your list without having to expand the more option. If you don't want it up there, then you can drag it right back down into more and it's gone again. So you should see a starred label over here to the left that's going to hold all of the messages that you have given a star to. Speaking of stars, you can also change the color of stars. You can have different color stars for different things. And there are a couple of other different symbols that you can use as well. So to find those, we're going to be under General or Settings gear, Settings tab. And then we're going to be under General. So if I scroll down here, right here in the middle, I can determine what kind of stars that I want to use. So right now, really, I only use one type of star because I usually only star, like I said, if I need to kind of follow up with somebody. But Google has all of these other options that you can use to label your messages. So for example, you could drag up the red exclamation mark if that's something that you think is really super important that you need to make sure you do in the future. Or you can drag up any number of these stars. You can drag up as many or as few as you want to. The choice is yours, but that's right there. Again, that was under the settings gear. settings, and then I'm on the general tab, and then you just scroll down and there's where you can find those star options and your other little options too. If you want to use it, just click and hold, drag it up, drop it, then it'll be an option in your star list. You can also drag it back down if you don't want to use it. So that's kind of how you can change the look of your stars. If you think that would be a good organizational tool for you, you can use different color stars or different symbols as well. There's one last thing that I want to talk about, and this is kind of going to limit the amount of emails in your inbox that you don't want to receive. So let's just say, I don't know if I can find one really quickly. Okay, here's a Groupon email, for example. If I did not want to receive Groupon emails anymore, I can click on this, and then there's always the option to unsubscribe down at the bottom. You can scroll down, or sometimes it's even up at the top. You can always unsubscribe if it's from like a mailing list type of email, or if it's something that you didn't sign up for, it's something that you're not sure why you're receiving it, it doesn't look appropriate to you, anything that's a little more intense, then while you've got the email open, you can click on these three little dots to get a more menu, and then you can block that sender. So when you block them, it's going to take messages like this that you receive in the future, and it's going to put them in your spam label. So again, that's over here. It's probably going to be under more, and there's your spam. So if you do not want to receive those emails in your inbox anymore, they're clogging you up, they're inappropriate, there's something you didn't sign up for, that kind of thing, then you can always block them. So just click here, block that sender. Anytime you receive another email from that sender in the future, it's going to automatically stick it in your spam category for you. So that's kind of our tip number 3. It's kind of a lot of different smaller tips, kind of all combined together, but hopefully you learned something new that will be helpful for you, kind of getting your inbox organized. So take a look at what kind of inbox configuration system would work best for you. Think about how you can use maybe stars or unread messages to kind of help keep you organized. And we'll see you back here for tip number 4 next week. Bye, guys.